for you. Choose wisely. I want to start this show up by saying, guys, we had an awesome time yesterday. Two powerful shows that highlights modern women and modern behavior and what you men should do as you seek to move forward in times when relationships appear to be not only very turbulent, but very costly if you have not learned to recalibrate your soul, mind, body, and spirit. One of the things I want to talk about, guys, is something called SHECOVERY. And so until you learn how to deal with the issues associated with SHECOVERY, you can never uncover from the markings that you got in the past in order that you might recover. Listen, I'm going to do a show at some point with Dre with Love Crossing Borders, but some of you guys still have googly eyes. And you are googly eyed because you have been fixated on the allure and the beauty of a woman. Not understanding that when you more or less give too much of your power away to a woman, you become a slave to your own desires. Some of you men are thinking about or more or less considering moving abroad. But until you learn how to master those thoughts that have more or less kept you a slave in the past, you will never be fit for the journey of bringing a woman into your life that can add value, substance, and clarity. SHECOVERY, guys, is not only your desire and love for a fine and a beautiful woman, but, SHECOVERY also is a manifestation and a byproduct of the trauma and also the conditioning that you went through in your past. That conditioning could be associated with the women in your life, maybe your mother, maybe the first girl that rejected you. But I noticed something, guys, and I've done things intentionally, and I noticed based on forensic evidence that when sometimes women come into our groups or our chats, some of you men are so mesmerized, you start more or less giving off simp energy. And I told you guys, the greatest thing that you can do as a man as it relates to a woman is to stand in power. She only respects power and strength. And while it's understanding that as men, we all like beautiful women, but you cannot give your power away to a woman because you have googly eyes. And because you have googly eyes, she got you mentally. So therefore, you are a victim of SHECOVERY. She has covered you mentally with her allure and her beauty, her body, her bottom. And because of that, when you go into a relationship, instead of demanding power, you defer power because you're mesmerized by a woman. That's why I succinctly believe that before you guys travel, some of you guys need a non-diagnostic clinical consultation so I can help you resolve some of those thinking errors. And not only that, it would be remiss of you to also talk with Dre if you go to Columbia of Love Crossing Borders, or whoever you go or wherever you go. But I'm a firm believer, guys, I want to see you men win, and you cannot win if you are a victim of SHECOVERY. Basically means, as I said earlier, she has a veneer over your mind and your brain to the point that you go into a relationship being unconscious simp and sometimes a conscious simp. The unconscious simp basically supplements irrational male behavior. Some of you men, when you travel abroad, you supplement irrational male behavior because you overspend by showing a woman love. Some of you guys that are dealing with women, if you choose to, pay for play, you give them more than what they're worth in their own ecosystem. Some of you guys, when you travel abroad, you still have the same vestiges of what you had in the past as it relates to the women that held you a slave when you were here in America. But my mission is to see you men win. And even though it's nothing wrong with being around an average to beautiful woman, you can never get overly excited because she only respects power and strength. One of the things I want to share with you guys is, as we talk about power and strength and talking about your formative years, talking about seeing your father not stand in power to his mother. A lot of those things are byproducts of what we call unconscious motivations. Those things are unconscious, and sometimes those unconscious motivations can be a nemesis to you. It can be a nemesis to your evolution as a man because you love that woman and allure more than you love yourself. As I said before, there are many times when women come into or on the show that are fairly attractive or average or whatever. I can see from some of the comments, some of you guys be dripping with simpery. And listen, to my critics, I've called women attractive. It's not wrong with giving a woman a compliment. There are some women that have come in our group that are attractive, but I'm not moved by your beauty. You will not compromise me because of your beauty. That means nothing to me. It's really irrelevant. I'm not persuaded because you're pretty, or got a nice body. It's ignorant to me, because as you get older as a man, you really don't care as much. What you care about is character. What you care about is honor and respect. And you can get a woman that's highly attractive, but she would be your worst nightmare because you guys don't know how to stand in power. And many times, guys, when you get with that woman, because you do have simp tendencies, normally, guys, this is what she'll do when you get into that relationship. She'll pull the mask off. And once she pulls that mask off, you're already stuck, and this is what happens. And that woman, she has a schema affliction, because that schema tells her that I'm number one. I'm more important than you. You're a simp. You're a nobody. You are a loser. And her affliction is that she might lose power. Her fear is that she might lose power. So she got to keep you hypnotized by the allure of her body, by the fake up on her face, to keep you in a state of suspended animation. And when you guys are in a state of suspended animation, you're not operating in your purpose. If you believe in theology, your first purpose is God. After that, it's what you were made for, and your woman comes last. But you guys come into relationships putting that woman above God and your purpose, and then you wonder why you are so broken. And some of it, guys, is the culture that we live in. A culture where we don't see masculinity or masculine men from either ethnic group, white or black. And I see it, guys, as I said before in the past in many shows, many men come in broken based on what their women are doing to them. Sexist marriages is something that a lot of men deal with because they had googly eyes. And they love that woman more than they love themselves and their purpose. And many times the woman you're dealing with, she's not a wholesome woman if you got standards. You're getting googly eyed for her, but when Shermite, Chorenzo, and Raekwon, and Day and Chad got it, they didn't give her anything but some wood, and they kept it moving. And that made her chase their validation. But see, you're the cleanup man. You're the consolation prize. And she'll use you until she get rid of you, or she'll use you until she get tired of you, or until she take you to court and divorce you because now she's frustrated. And many times, guys, these women that you're googly eyed over are women that have had a lot of fun in their younger years. They've had a lot of fun, and now they want to settle down, and they want you to put a ring on it. But what are you getting in return? And so when you travel abroad, I don't want you guys to go to other countries messing up their ecosystem because you're googly eyed. Because women can sense desperation. They can sense that simp syrup dripping off of you because you don't know how to be firm as a man and demand power in the relationship. It's nothing wrong with complimenting a woman. There's nothing wrong with being mesmerized to some degree by a pretty woman. But once you get used to being around women, average to attractive, they're just women. It's not special about them. They go to the bathroom just like you go to the bathroom. They stink just like you stink. They got a shower. They defecate. They urinate. They got issues just like you got. But see, for so long, so many of us men have put women on a pedestal, and we made them more important than anything. And they're not important than you, because see, what you don't understand, poor gents, is that in a relationship, many times these women see themselves as better than you. And if a woman see herself as better than you, and you allow that psychic abuse that sometimes that she more or less gives to you, you can never be seen as number one or valued in that relationship. And that's why, as guys, you gotta more or less understand what your thinking errors are. Some of the thinking errors that you guys are dealing with is over magnification. You over magnify the importance of that woman instead of magnifying what your purpose is. When you over magnify the purpose of a woman, she will indeed minimize your purpose as a man. I see it many times with some of the female content creators. Some of these women are good women. I respect them highly. But some of you guys be dripping with simp syrup. And because you drip with so much simp syrup, they can sense it. But women don't like that. They'll use you for attention. But in actuality, they don't really respect you. Women respect men that stand in power. That's what they respect. Hold tight. And when you stand in power, guys, hold tight. Not only will she honor you, but she'll do one or two things. It's going to be a win-win for you and her. If she decides to move on and leave you, fine, you still won. If she decides to stay with you, you still won because you did not compromise what your convictions were as a man. And that's why I do these shows. I use clinical concepts and infuse it with the art of life and social trends to give you guys the manifestation of revelation as it relates to you not being victims of your own ignorance. The thing you got to do is not becoming a slave of mental pillage. These women will steal or pillage your mind if you become googly eyed. And as I said before, many of you guys are googly eyed. Some of you men listen to some of these goofy guys that they try to tell you how to deal with women, but you don't need game to deal with modern women or women abroad. You don't need game. It's irrelevant to have game. You should have some type of masculine decorum, but you don't need game. You don't even need game. You shouldn't even use game for most of the women here in America, because many are America's a cesspool when it comes down to dealing with equality or grading of women. So you should be more or less fortifying your mind, evaluating where you are at as an individual. Come see me at kosherclinician@gmail.com and get a non-diagnostic consultation. And then if some of you passport brothers or this men in general are traveling to get a wife, you will not be a victim of SHECOVERY, which in essence means you got to know how to uncover so that you can recover. Once you can succinctly uncover to recover and not be a victim of SHECOVERY, meaning she's covering you based on the allure of her beauty, no longer will you become googly-eyed when you're around foreign women when you decide to go abroad and get a wife. But you will stand in power instead of standing in brokenness. So I want you guys to think about what I'm saying, as this has been another message from the Manhood Chronicles, as I am your host, the Kosher Clinician. And I need you guys to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male, and understanding how being googly-eyed is a detriment to your well-being as a man is paramount and necessary if you decide to travel abroad to get a wife. I want you guys to let this show marinate. I want you guys to let what I said more or less convince you of the need to stand firm in power and not be googly-eyed by the allure of a woman. Once again, it's okay to love a woman. It's okay to respect and understand a woman, but never be a victim of being googly-eyed, as some of you guys are in the process of traveling abroad to get a wife. And like Austin Holloman said, it's really that bad. So this is a fire for your mind moment, and be well. Fire for your mind. The Kosher Edition.